For the longest time, when we talked about classroom management, it was all about one thing: reaction, right? A student acts out, a consequence follows. Order is restored, at least for a little while. But that old model, it's starting to change. Today, we're going to dig into this really powerful shift from managing by reaction to managing by design.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Is classroom management something you do after the fact in response to behavior? Or is it something you can actually design to make that positive behavior way more likely from the very beginning? To figure that out, let's take a closer look at the old model first.
Okay, so this is the traditional punitive approach. And look, a lot of us probably experienced this as kids or maybe even started out using it as teachers. The entire focus is on what to do after a problem pops up. The logic seems pretty straightforward, right? If a behavior gets a negative consequence, hey, the student probably won't do it again.
And what's kind of wild is how familiar all of these tools are. We've all seen them, right? The public behavior charts, the detentions, the super strict zero-tolerance policies. And sure, they can create a sense of order, absolutely. But here's the thing. They all rely on external control. We're talking fear, shame, or maybe even rewards, not a student's own motivation or understanding. It's all about getting compliance, period.
But here's the real problem, and honestly, it's a huge one. These systems almost never ask the question, why is the student acting out in the first place? They just go after the behavior itself, the symptom. That analogy of taking a cough drop for pneumonia, it's perfect. Yeah, it might quiet things down for a minute, but you haven't even begun to touch the real underlying issue.
And what happens when the whole focus is on control? Well, you almost always end up with this adversarial vibe in the room. It becomes a constant power struggle, a battle of wills between the teacher and the student. You know the drill. The teacher enforces, the student pushes back, and the whole cycle just keeps escalating. It's just exhausting for everyone involved.
And hey, this isn't just about the kids. Let's be real for a second. Think about the massive toll this takes on you, the teacher. Constantly having to be the enforcer, the disciplinarian. It is so emotionally draining. It puts you on high alert all day long and can turn what should be a relationship of mentorship into just constant conflict management.
In this quote right here, it just nails the biggest, most fundamental flaw in the whole punitive model. It's built on a totally false assumption. It assumes that a student who's acting out already knows how to behave differently and is just choosing not to. But what if they don't? What if they literally don't have the skills for self-regulation yet, or for dealing with frustration, or even just for telling you what they need?
So this is it. This is the big shift, the aha moment. The preventative model completely reframes the entire question. Instead of asking, okay, what do I do now that this happened, we start asking, what conditions can I create in my classroom that make positive behavior the easy choice from the very start? It's a move from being a discipline enforcer to being an instructional designer.
Okay, so this lays out the 4 cornerstones of this new way of thinking. Let's just walk through them. 1. Behavior is communication. It's not just bad behavior, it's a signal of an unmet need. 2. Your environment shapes behavior. Everything from your daily routines to the way the desks are set up, it all matters. 3. Skills have to be taught. You wouldn't expect a kid to know algebra without teaching them, right? Same goes for self-regulation. And 4, the big one, relationships are the foundation. None of this works without trust and connection. You could almost say connection is classroom management.
All right, so what does this actually look like day to day? The best part is you don't have to tear down your whole classroom and start over. Seriously. It can be as simple as having really predictable routines so kids feel safe and know what's coming next, or just making sure they understand why they're learning something. Even tiny things, like a quick emotional check-in at the start of the day, can totally transform the vibe of the room.
And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, where do I start? What's the one thing that gives me the biggest bang for my buck? Here it is. 2 minutes. Research is super clear on this. Just 2 minutes of genuine, one-on-one, non-schoolwork-related connection with a student each week can completely change the dynamic. Just 2 minutes. That's it. It's this tiny little investment in trust that tells a student, I see you. You're a person, not just a problem I have to manage. Okay, we have to talk about something really important here, a super common misconception. Preventative does not mean permissive. This is not a free-for-all classroom, okay? It's not about letting kids get away with everything or ignoring accountability. No way. The boundaries and expectations are still crystal clear. The huge difference is what happens when a line gets crossed. The response is about learning and restoring, not just about punishing.
This little table just lays it all out so perfectly. Look at the difference. The punitive model is all about reacting. The preventative model is all about designing. One is focused on compliance and control, while the other is focused on understanding and making kids feel like they belong. And maybe most importantly, one sees misbehavior as defiance that needs to be crushed, and the other sees it as information, as a clue that we need to understand.
And at the end of the day, this whole shift, it isn't just better for the students. It is profoundly better for us, for the teachers. It saves you from that burnout, from the emotional exhaustion of being the classroom cop all day. It frees you up from constantly putting out fires so you can actually do the thing you got into this profession to do, which is teach. It just makes the classroom a more humane, safer, and more welcoming place for every single person who walks through that door.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with just one question to chew on. You don't have to change everything all at once. That's not the goal. But just thinking about everything we've talked about. What's one small, tiny, intentional shift you could make tomorrow to start moving from reacting to designing? Because that one little change, it really could make all the difference.